Today we're going to try out Impossible Bowls. Specifically, I have here the Chili Mac with Impossible Pork, which I can't say I've ever had. I've had the Impossible Beef, I've had the Impossible Chicken. I think that they're decent, but Impossible Pork, I haven't gone down that road necessarily. I've had imitation chorizo, but it wasn't by Impossible. So this is kind of a new thing for me to try, and I've never tried any of their frozen meals, so this will be new for me. And I feel like Chili Mac is a good one to start with because you can't necessarily hide the meat because it's, it's a highlight of the dish. It's not something you can really hide behind necessarily with the Impossible Pork. If the Impossible Pork is bad, it's going to be bad. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no way around it. So we'll find out how their Impossible Pork is. So straight up made from plants if you're looking for something vegetarian. I'm not sure if it's vegan though. It doesn't necessarily say vegan on the front. Usually, contains no animal products, so I guess that makes it vegan, but usually when it comes to these kind of things, they'll have all the little stamps and stuff that's like, vegan, no GMOs, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't say that. But on the back we have, treat yourself to perfectly seasoned Impossible Pork made from plants mixed in a delicious chili-style sauce over elbow macaroni. And you don't have to save the world, but you're trying, and that's what we love about you. Thank you. I wouldn't say I'm trying. I guess I'm trying to eat a little bit less meat, which is a good thing. Everybody should probably do. Just try to cut out a little bit more meat. But I still eat meat, so I'm probably a big part of the problem, but whatever. You're fixing yourself a delicious bowl, and by picking meat made from plants, you're making a choice that's better for the planet. Tasty little changes can have a huge impact. I guess that's a nice pat on the back for me, but I really don't feel I deserve it. Cook from frozen, cut a 1-inch slit in the film, microwave on high 3 minutes, carefully remove film and mix, and then microwave for an additional 30 seconds, let stand, and then eat. So pretty simple. I like the bowl format. I think the bowl format in frozen meals is one of my favorite trends. I guess it's not really a trend now, it's just established, but I like the bowl format, so we'll see how it works out. I'll open it up for you. It looks decent. It's hard to really beat with a frozen meal. It's hard to beat when you can actually see the ingredients and it doesn't look like mush. You can see the meat, you can see the noodles. It's all there. It doesn't just look like generic mushed up food. It looks like the actual things, even though it does have quite a bit of ingredients. Cooked enriched elbow pasta, which makes total sense. Tomato puree, salt, Roma tomato, onion, canola oil, blah blah blah. And there's a lot of chemically ingredients in here. Which, I guess is to be expected when you're talking about meat that's not meat. I guess they got to do some things to make it work. That's fine. Let me pop it in the microwave and see what it tastes like, because that's really what matters. And this was a reasonable price. I think it was about $4, which is maybe a little bit on the high end of frozen foods, or frozen meals, but not really. That's pretty much in line with most frozen meals nowadays. You're talking about the cheapest frozen meals are in the $2.50 range, and then any decent frozen meal is probably going to be $4 or $3.50 or something like that. So not too far out of line, and definitely something that, if it tastes good, could make a good replacement if you're somebody who eats a lot of frozen meals. So let's get to it. I'm going to microwave it, and I'll be back in a second. Well, here's my Chili Mac bowl out of the microwave, steaming a little bit, even though I let it sit for a good couple minutes, still steaming, but I think I'll be able to try it. Looks all right. It smells decent, maybe a little bit more cumin-y than I was expecting, but smells decent. Don't worry about the background noise. I just cannot get around it around here, but smells decent. We'll try it out. I feel like it's lacking some kind of dairy, some kind of cheese or sour cream or something, but we'll see if that's an issue after I try it. Really, the big thing is, how is the Impossible Pork? So I'm going to try to get a good bite with some meat on it. Still a little hot. Let me do that again. It's still a little hot. Okay, let's do it. I think this meal could fool somebody. I was trying to isolate the pork bits. There's not too much. It more seems like ground beef than pork, but they say it's Impossible Pork. I've been trying to isolate them to kind of get the taste. And I really think it's there 100%. I honestly don't really have, even though I know it's not real pork, I got nothing that tells me it's not real pork. This is perfectly adequate. Even when I'm highlighting it on its own, I wouldn't be able to really tell that it's Impossible Pork, which, I mean, I guess that means they kind of solved the equation, because they were already getting there with chicken. I think they're already almost there with chicken. They've gotten there with beef pretty much. And I think with pork, they've also gotten there. I was not really expecting it to turn out as well as it did. Now, the meal itself, I also quite enjoy. It has a good flavor to it. It feels, I mean, natural is not the right way to put it, but it feels like more of a home-cooked kind of simple meal. It doesn't feel exactly like a frozen meal. Like when I get a frozen chili mac meal, I kind of expect it to have a certain taste to it. And this is not it. It really kind of feels homemade. I guess that makes more sense. It has a homemade feel to it. It's got a nice tomatoey taste. It's got good seasoning. I really have no complaints, other than the fact that I brought up at the beginning, which would be some cheese would be nice, but I can see how that wouldn't necessarily work in the frozen meal like this. And you can just add your own cheese. That's one of the good things about frozen meals. You can doctor them up the way you want. And I think there's a potential I will get this again, and I will add my own cheese to it, and maybe some sour cream, a dollop of sour cream, and it'll be great. I actually really enjoyed this. Yeah, this is fantastic. I honestly have no complaints. I'm very impressed that Impossible Foods managed to put out their own frozen meals that taste this quality. Even with the the Impossible brand, I come into it hoping that the pork doesn't taste too off from real pork, but I'm coming out of it saying, this is probably one of the better frozen meals I've had recently, and I think it's an easy 5. I actually really enjoy this. Yeah, it's a tiny bit more than other frozen meals, but not really. It pretty much fits in the demographic, and I would suggest almost anybody try this, even if you're somebody who is not necessarily into Impossible meats and stuff like that. Check it out. This might change your mind, because it's pretty damn good. I got nothing else I can really comment about it. I like the seasoning. I like the mix. I like the flavor they're putting on here. I wish I could get a flavor packet like this for my own chili, because it tastes great. And the pork is, as I said, it's unnoticeable that it's not real pork. I feel like you could give a bite of this. You could give this meal to somebody and say, hey, I microwaved you this. Or maybe even fool them into thinking it's a homemade one, honestly, because it's pretty good. So Impossible meals, chili mac with Impossible pork, easy 5. I really like this meal a lot. Try it out. If you're vegan, vegetarian, try it out. If you're not, try it out, like they say. Replacing meat with one of these every once in a while, it only helps. It helps you, and it helps the environment, I guess. Even if it's not really, it's a negligible impact, but I guess if everybody does it, it's helpful. So we'll listen to the positive message, we'll stay positive, and say that Impossible, you're doing a good job, and I will probably try more of your meals in the future. But this one I can for sure recommend, easy 5, and I will see you all next time.